fall.
You know, even though it's in Baton Rouge, we could certainly open it up to any licensee anywhere.
Oh,
And I think you would get, I would think you would get some
Yes,
from New Orleans.
I'm just simply saying that Baton Rouge is the location of fall CEU.
Right.
Yeah, people from all over the state will.
And if we have to set up
But it's
two,
across the street, you know where the old baseball field is?
Yeah. We could either do
Just
it-
go down there.
Friday, Saturday, or we do consecutive weeks.
Who your lecturer is, whoever you want to
Yeah.
actually
Oh, yeah, that's
speak to.
gonna.
Which that's something TL and I spoke about too, is utilizing all those professors at LSU.
well, or also somebody that's familiar with the IRC.
You remember how I always said I would love to see us, and not for this time, but maybe another time, do the something on historic and all that. Well, I don't know. There's a man named Pat Baycock or whatever. Baycock. Well, whatever, because they say it different ways. And they just did that big Louisiana book on all the furniture. But his wife worked for the state, and she did the codes like for what renovations would be done in public buildings, and she was like the specialist on that. And so that might be something good to kind of research. And I asked him. He said his talk is like an hour, and he charges $100. And then I don't know what she charges, but she could do something like that. And so I don't know whether that would give us our 6.
She's an interior designer?
She's not, but she is. She worked
Her
for this
name is
Barbara.
Barbara Baker,
Back,
and
yeah.
she also did a very significant book, and she used to work. It was one of the agents, because I had her come to projects in New Orleans, historic projects.
Mhm.
She worked for the state somehow, and she would go in to review. She came about equivalencies, to meeting the code, exceptions and all. So I don't know if it was the state fire marshal.
No, there's a state historical.
It was something she worked
Yes,
for.
I think
because-
it was the
Because we're in the
historical.
process of utilizing tax deductions for a project that's.
Well, we would have to
And
get that
historical.
approved, whatever they teach or whatever.
Yeah, as far as the licensees go, because everybody wants 2-for-1s. So whenever the board, you guys offer a CEU, of course it's approved for your license, but everybody wants to know if ASID and IIDA and everybody else and their uncle's going to take it. So that's something to consider.
Well, I think we should, when we develop this course, get it to the ASID folks and get it to the IIDA folks and let them take it through their own approval process.
We got plenty of time if we start right now.
And like to do this one like for spring.
This
instead.
one we're talking.
The
This is the
historic one.
Historic one.
The historic
So
one.
for next
Maybe
year.
for next year, like springtime or whatever.
Or some other time. Okay, yeah.
Do you remember the name of the book?
It's Furnishing a Louisiana. In fact, I had one to bring and I left it when I left out. But it's about this big, and it's all Louisiana documented furniture and where it came from and why it's this and.
And it goes into codes?
That does
No,
not go into
that
code.
doesn't.
That's only furniture history
He's a
and the reason.
historian.
That's the husband.
Mhm.
Oh,
The husband,
okay.
but the wife is the person who did a lot of stuff, and she's
Historic
retired.
preservation,
Yeah.
Pat was
Curator for the museum at
the
on
LSU
campus.
Museum when it was in the tower, before they kind of expanded and moved downtown.
Because really, the code issues with respect to historic properties are tremendous.
That might be
They
a
are
good
tougher
one.
than anything else, actually.
That would be a good one for the New Orleans,
That would be a great idea.
for the New Orleans CEU.
Yeah.
New Orleans and Shreveport. I mean for Baton Rouge too, but it's kind of a fitting location.
But I mean, you can go to New Orleans. I don't have a problem with going to New Orleans for a CU. It's fine.
You
Yeah.
don't, but the Baton Rouge people aren't going to.
Yeah, but we've already got something in Baton Rouge.
No,
Okay,
I
so
know, I'm
but
just saying,
if it's history,
Yeah.
it might be a little different.
We're not going to.
We're gonna do one in Alexandria.
We're not going to Alexandria because there's like 3 of you.
It's central Louisiana.
But you could get a trailer, one of those trailer cars, and put the CUs in the trailer cars, drive
Instead of
up.
the games
Give
to
you-
you
yeah.
van, it could be the CEU.
The mobile
van.
CEU
Yeah,
van.
the mobile
Well,
CEU
since
van.
we already started talking about CEUs, why don't we go through the spring CEU?
We go to Shreveport for Bob. Speaking of that, let's talk about. Oh, I'm not talking about you. Wait, you're the fall. Spring CEUs.
Spring CEU.
All right, so in your packet also is some information. It starts at the top, it's labeled well, it's got the red writing on it, 2011 ADA updates. You guys talked about wanting to do a code CEU for the spring. So we did, Deb and I, we both had the same idea, and we contacted Seminars by Design. Yeah, always get them confused. Seminars by Design. They are the ones that did our CEUs last year. This is funny, I just received in the last week calls from 3 people who were at the New Orleans CEU last year and they all 3 said the same thing. We loved the hotel, we loved the food, we loved the speaker. What else did they teach? And that was pretty much the gist of the
That's
conversation.
probably a pretty good recommendation.
So, yeah, and I've also had people, Shreveport last year, they said, whatever he teaches, find out and just sign him up for next year.
Yeah,
Remember Tom?
Good.
Yeah, he was
it
funny.
was good.
Yeah.
Who
But
was Tom?
it was Tom Shank. So Deb and I got with Donna, and got some information from her. They have a new class this year that they're teaching, which is the 2011 ADA updates. It's 2 hours of health, safety, welfare. They also have a new class that's 2 hours. It's a Green Revival House, which is a Lead Platinum Project case study, which is a new one. And then I went to their website and listed out other classes that we haven't yet had from them. Some of them are 1 hour classes. Some of them are 2 hour classes. There's one on how to prevent fires.
Now we're talking about for this spring?
We're talking about, yes ma'am, for this spring. One that I thought was interesting that I think would get a lot of, we talked about not making the entire 5 hours codes.
Not codes.
On the second page, Practice Makes Perfect Business Tools for Success. This is, all of their classes that I have listed on here are all IDCEC approved, and they're all HSW. So this one is the importance of contracts, letters of agreements, and proposals. Actual examples will be cited, as well as the differences and merits of invaluable business tools.
And that's something all of them would be
That's something that
interested
people, so I'm just thinking if you did a little bit of codes and then you threw in 2 hours of some type of business.
Well, and the thing is that the business tools protect the welfare of the public.
Yeah.
I mean,
Right.
most of the complaints are business-related issues
Right.
regarding licensees. So
Right, and it's something
I think this is the perfect thing to have
I
discussed.
hear at every CEU,
Yeah.
people would like something on contracts and all of that good stuff.
in. And then the fee or not to fee would be something that would be great
But
interest
I'm gonna say this because
in
I don't do commercial and I do residential. I wish we had something that's more of a hands-on, like maybe 2 hours of color or something that would break all of this more paperwork.
Gotcha.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yes, Laura.
Yeah, but it's not listed on the list.
It's not listed on the list.
And we did do the psychology of color from them last year for 2
Yeah.
hours.
Okay, but I
It
mean,
was
maybe
good.
they have something on textiles or some, I don't know what, but I mean, I think sometimes my
We did
brain doesn't
textiles.
So we did
absorb.
textiles last,
Yeah, they
Time
did the
too.
2 hour textiles and 2 hours color psychology.
Mhm.
So,
You were there in April, you were.
so sorry, you have to skip a year.
You're gonna you'll get your decorative thing next
Okay.
year.
Yeah.
Well, what is the date of the April?
It's not
As long
set
as
yet.
you go
We have
to
to
it, you're
first know.
fine.
What we're doing? So it's going to be towards the end of April.
I'm thinking, yeah, I'll have to look at these.
You might like it.
I don't mind it. I can't
Yeah,
absorb it all.
late.
It's too
March
much.
Yeah, so
Very
maybe
late.
like mid-April or so. Before, so with that, it doesn't fall in line with these. Oh, sure. But, yeah, so I mean, I'd have to talk with Donna and Tom and see their schedule and then,
I understand your point though, Joanne. You kind of want to try to break it up.
yeah,
Stone is good.
Now, that guy was really good with the stone. That, he was at,
that was my scenes group, that was seminars, that was design arts seminars. the Ponce de Leon. Everybody calls him Ponce, but it's Manuel.
No, I don't know if this man was. That was that little stone place in Baton Rouge. That's where this little place
Oh,
was.
I thought you were talking about this tile and stone, the gritty truth that you did. Okay.
Yeah, no, that was it. That was
Okay,
it. I thought it was given over there.
That's
Was
okay.
that-
The tile and stone, the gritty truth is
Yeah.
Design Arts Seminars
Oh, okay.
property.
Was that a 1 hour?
It was
No.
a lot. But I mean,
It's
I
like
wonder if they
five.
had somebody would do it like a small segment, because it was really interesting. I thought I was.
Yeah.
Well, what if we try to get a segment in for a couple of hours that would deal with,
Some decorative
materiality,
material.
Yeah.
that still would deal with health, safety, and welfare?
Yeah, even if you don't find it, it's fine. But I just think, I think.
No, I agree with you. I think it breaks up the, it
Yeah.
breaks up the sessions, and I think it's gonna be of more interest if we can get that worked out.
Yeah,
Now, we just asked them on this, we just asked them for their health, safety, and welfare in this particular area, so maybe
Right,
we
so
can
they're
go
not-
back.
Right, they're not contracted or anything. The only thing we need to look at is the expense if we're looking at 2 different guest speakers and getting them in. So that's typically why in the past we've done
Was
one
there
speaker
somebody
for
from
5
LSU?
hours.
Is there somebody from LSU that maybe could do that?
Do a,
Like flexibility on textiles.
No, we've done that.
we just
Like,
did that
we
last.
need to do either a tile one, we could do a flooring, something or another. We could do, what, low VOC paint?
Well, and those are usually better done by the manufacturer's rep.
And is, you know, and I've often wondered this too, is that something that the board would ever do? Have a manufacturer's rep? Like, for example, I know that Herman Miller has a great line of CEUs. Actually, Frost Barber hosted them this past year. They just did them as lunch and
Steel
learns.
case.
But, oh, yes, I'm sorry, steel
Yes.
case. But Herman Miller does have some, but yes, the ones
Yeah.
I'm talking about are steel case. I know that the Baton Rouge people, many of the Baton Rouge people
Yeah.
went to Frost Barber for them. I know that the New Orleans people would like to have them, but would the board ever ask steel case to do a CEU? Wouldn't that be?
I don't think that would be bad. I think that would be
Well, I
great.
think the
No,
issue with that is that when you've got a
vendor
manufacturer's name tagged to something, I think we need to stay generic.
We have to do
Okay,
Well,
that's
but-
what I was wondering. Okay.
Well, but a lot of their CEUs,
Like acoustics in the classroom was one of them.
yeah, are pretty generic. I mean, well, like with steel, we just had them come and do one of their last ones at LSU for the students at a student meeting. And I'm trying to think, now let me think. I mean, they have done, it's their applied research division, it was on the workplace. It was real interesting. It's about welfare. I mean, it was the different traits of the generations in the workplace. You know, now with the baby boomers, Generation X, Generation Y, there's such significant differences in those people in the workplace that planning for them and how they work is a challenge. And they have had their applied research division studying this for about 10 years. And so when they give it, I mean, it is pretty generic.
They do have a knowledge base that,
Yeah.
because they've been doing the research and pouring the money into the research.
It's not like they're coming and selling their goods.
Right, it's not their product line. I'm sure that their logo would be all over everything, you know, as far
I
as
can't even remember that it was
That
so
would be,
much.
that would be,
PowerPoints and,
My
you know,
issue.
handouts.
Yeah.
Well, if it's a AIA or any other kind of CEU that's for credit, it's supposed to be non-specific.
Yeah, but,
Manufacturer.
but I mean, we can count, like IIDA, ASID have different reps come in and give, and they keep it pretty generic. You get the generic information
Well,
now.
Absolutely.
We had, I know one complaint
We just had
on
that issue.
one
Right.
Yes,
that
we
was, and there's no consistency necessarily, and that's been the problem in the past, and why originally we chose not to go to
Okay.
manufacturers or distributors, CEs for that reason, even though they may have been approved. If we can establish obviously one that is totally neutral, because I see what you're saying.
Reliable.
We could do it, but we don't want to be seen sponsoring
I
or a
understand.
specific product.
No, I
My
Because
only-
the competitor will be on our doorstep the next day
We-
saying you're
Yeah.
picking one over
You're
ours.
opening a
Well, then
whole
let
can
them
of
do the
worms
one the
when
next
you
year.
get into
My thinking was that the
manufacturing.
speakers would do it for free, is why I was inquiring, and we could just have a
Yeah.
sign-up sheet, who else wants to offer them to the state board, sign up and we'll schedule you for the next ones.
Well, I think we ought to, stick with where we are at the present.
Okay.
Okay?
That's wonderful.
Just because I